Liverpool are living through one of those phases in which every detail seems to carry a greater meaning than it appears. There is a sense in the air that the club are undergoing a silent yet profound rebuild, one that does not rely solely on big money signings, but on surgical decisions, assertive choices, and, above all, a clear vision of what the team want to become in the coming years. The arrival of Arne Slot marked exactly that turning point. With his methodical, attacking style and his acute understanding of the midfield's role in a team's machinery, the Dutch manager found himself facing an unexpected scenario. Despite the £450 million invested in the last summer window, the area that needed the most oxygen ended up exposed. It all began with a series of decisions that left supporters confused, if not anxious. Harvey Elliott, one of the most promising youngsters from the recent academy crop, was sent out on loan. James McConnell, another developing talent, followed the same path. And Tyler Morton, whom many believed would finally earn his place, ended up moving permanently to Lyon. Suddenly, a sector that should have been the most rotational and the richest in options turned into a room with a limited number of chairs. And when those chairs began to sit empty due to injuries, the alarm bells rang loudly across Anfield. Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, Curtis Jones and Wataru Endo, all of them, at some point in the season, were sidelined by physical issues. The exception was Dominik Szoboszlai, and perhaps it was precisely for that reason that he became living proof of how overloaded the midfield had become. The Hungarian was used in positions no structured team should ever demand of a creative player. He played as an improvised right-back, as a defensive midfielder, as a builder, and even as a hybrid between both roles. Not because Arne Slot wanted to, but because the team simply did not have enough alternatives to maintain their tactical plan without resorting to improvisation. And it is in this almost dramatic atmosphere that the name which has ignited the English press emerges: Elliot Anderson. The 23-year-old midfielder who, until recently seemed like just another promising youngster, has exploded at Nottingham Forest to the point of being regarded today as one of the most valuable and coveted players in the Premier League. His performances have been so far above average that the England national team called him up with enthusiasm, and he is now seen as a serious contender for Thomas Tuchel's squad for next summer's World Cup. Since leaving Newcastle for Forest in a £35 million move, Anderson has not only developed, he has taken a leap that very few young players manage in such a short time. It is no exaggeration to say he has become the engine of Sean Dyche's side. He has played every single minute of the Premier League so far, demonstrating physical and mental resilience worthy of much more experienced players. And most impressively, he has dominated midfield not only through his defensive work, but also through his ball progression, his ability to accelerate play, his offensive transitions, and his powerful, controlled ball carrying. His goal against Leeds United was just one example of the impact he is having, but those who follow his numbers know he offers far more than that. According to FOTMB data, Anderson is among the most complete midfielders in the league in terms of progressive carries and ball recoveries. He stands out both for his strength in defensive duels and for his ability to burst forward with the ball and break opposition lines. In simple terms, he makes the game happen. He creates chaos when chaos is needed and restores order when the team need to breathe. He is the kind of player managers like Arne Slot observe with twice the attention, because there are not many footballers capable of translating theory into practice with such intensity.
For that reason, it is no surprise that Liverpool have thrown themselves fully into the race. But they are not alone. Manchester United and Newcastle are also in the running, and each has very clear reasons for wanting Anderson. United, for example, see the Englishman as the natural replacement for Casemiro. The Brazilian, despite his leadership and legacy, no longer displays the same physical sharpness, and his massive contract, over £18 million per year, is unlikely to be extended. The club need fresh energy, intensity, and versatility, and Anderson offers exactly that complete package. It is no coincidence that The Times published a report stating United already view the midfielder as the ideal successor. But the battle promises to be fierce. Newcastle, the club that developed him, are closely monitoring the possibility of re-signing their jewel for a much higher price, but also with far greater potential. And Forest, of course, know they are sitting on pure gold. The club paid £35 million, but given his leap in quality, his relevance to the England squad, and his importance to the team, they now feel comfortable demanding up to £100 million for his transfer. To many, that figure may seem absurd, but in the current Premier League context, where truly complete talents are rare, that number becomes understandable. And this is where Arne Slot steps in decisively. The Dutch manager loves midfielders who give life to his system. His style, which combines Dutch intensity with almost surgical tactical organization, depends heavily on his central players' ability to sustain the team's structure. Slot needs footballers who not only run, but understand why they are running, who not only defend, but know when to accelerate, when to drop, when to play quickly, when to control the ball, and when to attempt a vertical pass. Anderson fits this profile perfectly. Alexis Mac Allister, despite his technical brilliance, has struggled with physical fluctuations. Curtis Jones, when fit, is excellent, but has yet to complete a full season of mature consistency. Endo has been fundamental in key moments, but he does not have the youth or explosiveness to carry a midfield for months. Gravenberch continues to show flashes of brilliance, but remains inconsistent. And Szoboszlai, despite his quality, cannot continue being the team's eternal wildcard. In other words, Slot needs help. Not just any reinforcement, but someone capable of transforming what is already there. Thus, Anderson does not emerge as a luxury signing, one of those designed merely to make headlines. He emerges as a real, perhaps even inevitable solution to a problem the season has exposed dramatically. Liverpool cannot allow their midfield to become fragile again. They cannot repeat the mistake of improvising players out of position due to lack of depth. And above all, they cannot miss the opportunity to bring in a player who appears to be entering exactly the kind of upward curve that transforms good players into extraordinary ones. What is most intriguing is that the saga is only beginning, and it already contains all the ingredients that turn a transfer chase into a major talking point across sports programs, roundtable discussions, and social media. There is historic rivalry, Liverpool and Manchester United battling for the same player. There is emotional narrative, Newcastle trying to reclaim the jewel that slipped away. There are major financial stakes, a Nottingham Forest side poised to profit like never before. And there is, above all, that ingredient only English football can deliver, the sense that any decision could shift the balance of the Premier League. If Liverpool manage to bring in Anderson, it will not merely represent a big money reinforcement. It will be a clear sign that Arne Slot is building something ambitious, solid, and bold. It will be a piece capable of redefining the rhythm, the strength, and the heartbeat of the team for years to come. Because in modern football, the midfield is not just a sector. It is the place where identities are formed and where matches are decided.